What was accomplished prior to your arrival, and what did the previous president prepare for you?
Actually, there were very little in the way of preparation for the new president to come in. Phil had begun the advocacy for new facilities at the college, and that was helpful because the college really needed to add some infrastructure to be ready for the kinds of students we were receiving.
When you came in and you knew what you wanted to achieve, how prepared was the college?
The college it was a very interesting time at the college. That was the year that the governments decided to cut our budgets by 20%. So it was a time of very significant financial constraint. And all of a sudden we had to bring that reality to the college as a new president. We had 267 layoffs we were going through all at once. But we are also moving into the world of the digital education. So at a time of constraint, very difficult labor situation in terms of having to say goodbye to so many people and then move forward digitally. So it was a time that took a while for the colleges to understand why we needed to go in the direction we did. And even in that time of fiscal constraint, some investments had to be made if we were going to serve the students that were coming to us with these demands.
Would you say that that was your greatest challenge? And what was the thing that you needed to fix about that in order to move your agenda forward?
Well, obviously, like any other large institution, you have to pay your bills. So you had to fix the financial problems. It wasn't created by the college, it was created by decisions of two levels of government. So that problem had to be addressed primarily, but we were moving very quickly to build a technological foundation. The college had slipped a little bit at that time. Students were coming from the high school world better prepared with technology than the college was ready to receive. So we had to shift that very quickly so that we would be in demand by the students in comparison to universities who had already taken some steps in that direction.
What was the most pressing issue that you faced when you started as president, and how did you address it? Was this the most pressing issue?
I don't think there were any issues that were greater than that financial one at that beginning stage, but it was also to get the college to start to think of itself a little bit differently. Having come from the world of K-12, we had a difficult time selling a college education versus a university education because they didn't see the same intensity, the same level of standards, and the fact that it would lead to a good job whether you took college or university. So we had to change the mindset of the people who were applying while changing ourselves internally to really live up to that expectation. So it was all of those things combined that made the start interesting.
Good. What is the one thing that you would like to be remembered for achieving in your time at Algonquin?
I think probably rather than one thing, I would say two, that we moved into the digital world, and that happened to become prophetic. When you look today at the connectivity of our students, if we hadn't have taken those initial steps in those days, we would have been in serious trouble as an institution. So that became something that allowed us to really lead the digital world in the college system. But secondly, we began to build the infrastructure. So over my time at the college, we've added almost $500 million of infrastructure, which has really changed the face of the college and has made it much more attractive to those who are considering a college education in this region.
Is there anything else that you'd like to make note of that you accomplished in your tenure here?
Well, I never think it's just me. It's the team at the college as a totality that makes these things happen. But we certainly have moved into the world of global education. We're moving in the international education field right now. We're moving largely into corporate training. It is all of those choices that have made the college what it is. And certainly now we see the number of applicants we're receiving far exceeds the number we can take. So it's a nice problem to have, and we're trying to figure out ways now with technology to allow more people to access the college. And I think we're also serving the disabled population far better than we did at that time. So all of those things make it a better place to work and to learn.
Some aspects of this job are likely gratifying, as some of the things that you've mentioned. What is the most annoying thing about being president?
Well, I can only speak personally for that one. Of late, it's that we haven't been able to get a good working relationship with our faculty union. The executive of that union has not seemed to want to work with the college, and we've found that very annoying because we know that working together we can do far more than having an adversarial reaction to each other. So that's the one thing we haven't been able to change in a satisfactory way. We'll continue to work at it, but it should be changed if we're going to make a positive difference for all that work here.
What do you feel that your successor is going to have to address first when they arrive here?
Well, the person coming in now is going to face 7 years of financial constraint in this province. It's going to be a challenging period of time. We're going to have to, as the minister says, become far more innovative and entrepreneurial. We're going to need new partners, and we're going to have to work with many others that in a time where money is more available, you don't have to be as dedicated to getting those things aligned. But financial constraint is going to be the number one, excuse me, the number one issue that person's going to face.
How have you prepared the college to meet this challenge?
Well, we've built a budget that recognizes that fact. We've put a business plan together that says we are prepared to work in financial times that are difficult for everybody. We've also realigned our funded programs and our non-funded programs so that they're, in case of the funded programs, they're aligned to the provincial financial model, which is a way we have to go at this time, even though we don't think the funding is adequate. At least our model faces that reality head on. So we're not in a crisis situation. We do have reserves, so the new president will come in, buy into that new strategic plan, which has been set by our board for 5 years, and I think really enjoy the job, depending on who they choose.
Is college getting harder to govern?
I don't think so. I think it's always going to be challenging. You have many demands, both internal and external, on the college, and for many, you can't meet all of their requests for whatever it is that they desire to make things better. From the workers, they need new technology, new resources, space, a whole series of things, and from outside, they want us to take more students. We've gone to the expression bricks and clicks now because we're serving both an on-campus, a hybrid, as well as an online audience. All of those things require resources to continue to serve, so all of those things make it, it's not a question of governance, it's a question of meeting expectations of everybody who wants something from the college.
One last question for you. Could you sum up your best advice to a presidential hopeful or the new president in a single sentence?
That's a sneaky question. That wasn't on the list. Best advice right now is, first of all, remember that ultimately the final decision rests with you, and you're going to have some steel in your spine because many things you're going to have to do are difficult, and there'll be competing demands for the yeses and the nos, and you're going to have the courage and conviction of your own values to make those hard decisions. People don't realize sometimes that the president's job is often the loneliest jobs because you have to make that final call, and you can't call on your colleagues for the answer to the question that you've been asked to decide about. But other than that, it's a wonderful place to work. They're going to have a great time, and I wish them well, whomever they choose for that position.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.